Hi, my name is Logan Finney, and for my video about the UN Declaration of Human Rights and an example of those rights being violated, I chose the Rwandan Genocide. Now, this genocide is one of the most important in history and is fairly recent, so there's a lot of information about it. So, the genocide took place in 1994 in Rwanda, which is a country in Africa, between the two ethnic groups of the Hutu and the Tutsi. Now, for a little background information, Rwanda was a country that was colonized by European countries, like a lot of African countries, and generally the Tutsis were treated greater because of their physical abilities, like their abilities to farm and create material. So, eventually, in the 80s and 90s, the Hutu were in power and took some of that ancestral rage against the Tutsis out through the government. So even before 1994, there was a lot of outbreaks against the Tutsi ethnic groups and, kind of killings, but the real genocide started in 1994. So relating to human rights, it is said that there's 800,000 people that have died due to this Rwandan genocide. And obviously, this is a great violation of human rights because people are dying, and especially people are dying for no reason, and something that's based off of completely ethnicity, which is a violation of human rights. Also, within the genocide, there was a lot of sexual violence against women, and the Hutus would kind of use this as a propaganda to promote their cause and say that Tutsi women are they're temptations and they're these evil forces, and that's a really big violation of human rights because not only were they murdering people, but they were also sexually torturing them and promoting sexual violence. So how exactly does this relate to the UN Declaration? Well, it relates to almost all of the articles, but I want to highlight a few in particular. So Article 1 states that all humans are born with the ability to have human rights, and they're born with them. So this was obviously violated by the Hutu ethnic group because even though the Tutsis technically were of a different origin, they're still born with human rights and deserve to inherit them. Article 5 talks about how no humans should be exposed to torture, and this was violated heavily because a lot of the ways that the Hutu would operate and take out this rage and commit this genocide against the Tutsis is mass killings, torture for information. There was, like I said, a lot of sexual violence, and this is obviously a huge violation of Article 5, which states that no humans should have to undergo torture or cruel and unusual punishment. And finally, the last article I want to highlight is Article 9, which talks about exile. And this is kind of an indirect one because obviously you don't really think about exile when you think of a genocide, but the end goal of the Hutu ethnic group is ultimately to exile the entire Tutsi ethnic group out of Rwanda, and they were going to do this either by killing all of them or forcing them all to leave. So this is a violation of Article 9 heavily, and it's a little ironic because the way that the UN Declaration is set up, which was established over 70 years ago, was to promote peace and give humans the rights that they deserve, but this was actually handled very poorly by the UN and surrounding countries just because of the nature of a genocide and how fragile that is within a country because it can destroy a whole country, and the effect on Rwanda is still seen today. So, in conclusion, the Rwandan genocide was a great violation of human rights, and is very important to global politics in the way that the UN Declaration of Human Rights operates and how it affects the world in general.